Sairam students, welcome back. Now today we'll be learning a new lesson in history. In the sixth lesson which we learned in history was about the conflict with the Mughals. In that we learned about the Shaista Khan's invasion, Shivaji Maharaj's escape from Agra, the Surat campaign, the campaign towards the south, and the expansion of Swaraj, the coronation of Shivaji Maharaj as well. Now while doing so many things. Yes, after the coronation ceremony, Shivaji Maharaj became the Chhatrapati of Swaraj. The south conquest was also successful. Swaraj expanded, comprising of large areas of Nashik, Pune, Satara, Sangli, Kolhapur, Sindhudurg, Ratnagiri, Raigad, and Thane districts of Maharashtra. Right. So these territories were under, you can say, they came under Swaraj. Yes. So Shivaji Maharaj had to look after, had to administer these places. Yes, and also parts of Tamil Nadu and Andhra Pradesh were included in the Swaraj. Now, in order to ensure smooth functioning of Swaraj and ensure welfare of people, Maharaj set up an efficient administration. Yes, so with so many large areas of these regions, yes, as well as territories in Tamil Nadu and Andhra Pradesh, it was very much essential for Shivaji Maharaj to start ensure smooth functioning of Swaraj, as well as not only that, to even help people welfare, people develop. That was also the one motive of Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj. So for that, he set up an efficient administration. And how did this administration work? That is what we are going to learn in our chapter number 7, the administration of Swaraj. Yes, so this is the first part of our chapter number 7, the administration of Swaraj. Now let's go ahead and see what is there for us to learn new in this lesson. First, the Ashtapradhan Mandal, or the Council of 8 Ministers. Ashtapradhan. Ashta means 8, Pradhan means ministers. So and Mandal means council. So this was the council of 8 ministers which Shivaji Maharaj had made, which he had made at the time of his coronation. This council was appointed at the time of the coronation. Now, who were the people in this Ashtapradhan Mandal? So Ashta means 8. So there were 8 departments with a head for each department. Maharaj had the power to appoint or remove any minister from his position. The council was selected on their merit and achievements. Okay. So, and they were paid salaries. So this council of ministers, or the Ashtapradhan Mandal, was appointed at the time of the coronation ceremony of Shivaji Maharaj. So this Ashtapradhan means 8 departments were there. Yes, and in these 8 departments there was a head for each and every department, separate head for each department, and whom to be appointed, whom to be removed from this position. That authority was only in the hands of Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj. Okay. Now those people who were selected in this council were selected on their merit and achievements. Yes. So whatever the achievements were, whatever the good points were, based on that they were selected in this Ashtapradhan Mandal, and they were paid salaries. Yes, so they were paid in cash. It was not that in those times there was a lot of practice of feudalism. Yes, feudal lands and jagirs were granted to the sardars and the ministers. So Shivaji Maharaj did not follow that tradition. He simply gave salaries to all those who were working for him, the Ashtapradhan Mandal, or whether it be the soldiers. So everybody were paid in salaries. Nobody was granted land or jagir. Okay, so over here you can see the Ashtapradhan Mandal of Shivaji Maharaj. Here we have the name of the ministers and the designation and the work they had done. Okay, so first you can see over here is the first name of the minister is Moro Trimbak Pingle. So he was the Pradhan, yes, the head. So what was his responsibility? What work he did? He running the administration and making arrangements for the conquered territories. Yes, so Moro Trimbak Pingle was the Pradhan. He was the head, and he looked into the matters about running the administration and making arrangements for the conquered territories. Next was Ramchandra Nilkant Muzumdar. He was the Amatya. Amatya means he keeping the accounts of the states, means that was the financial department. So whatever the accounts, the revenue, all that was looked up by Ramchandra Nilkant Muzumdar. Annaji Datta, he was the Sachiv, preparing royal edicts. Yes, so all this work, Sachiv means you can call it as a secretary type of. So he had the responsibility, Annaji Datta, he had the responsibility of preparing royal edicts. Then Dattaji Trimbak Vaknis, he was the mantri and his work was of correspondence. Then was Hambirrao Mohite. He was the Senapati and organization of the army and protection of the kingdom. Yes, so he was the head of the army. Hambirrao Mohite was the maternal uncle of Shambhaji Maharaj. Hambirrao Mohite was the Senapati. Organization of the army and protection of the kingdom was his responsibility. Then we have Ramchandra Trimbak Dabir. Ramchandra Trimbak Dabir was the Sumant foreign relations. Yes, how to maintain the trade between the different countries. Yes, so that responsibility was there with Ramchandra Trimbak Dabir. Then was Niraji Rauji. Niraji Rauji was the Nyayadhish dispensing justice. So Nyayadhish means a judge. So he looked into the conflicts or whatever matters needed to be given justice, and that was his responsibility. Niraji Rauji was the Nyayadhish. Then we have Moreshwar Pandit Rao. He was the Pandit Rao looking after religious matters of Swaraj and the people as well. So Pandit Rao, Moreshwar Pandit Rao, he was the Pandit, he was the priest who looked after religious matters. So these were the people or these were the departments which were established. I can say these people were appointed at the time of the coronation of Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj. Yes, so Pradhan, Amatya, Sachiv, Mantri, Senapati, Sumant, Nyayadhish and Pandit Rao. So these were the head of each department. Yes, and the work what they did. Fine. So whoever these people were appointed on their merit and achievement, not just blindly, but Shivaji Maharaj had a keen eye for the people who were talented, who were really could do the complete the job beautifully. That those people he had appointed. Fine. Then going ahead, next we are regarding about policy regarding agriculture. Yes, now we all know that even today in the main occupation of people, most of the people of India is agriculture. So the agriculture was the main occupation in villages. Yes, so how was this agriculture taken into consideration and how much you can say importance was given to agriculture, we will see. Knowing the importance of agriculture, Maharaj paid attention to the welfare of the farmers. Yes, so because most of the people had to earn their income through agriculture, so it was very much essential for the farmers also to develop. So, with that intention in mind, Shivaji Maharaj paid attention to the welfare of the farmers. And how? And Annaji Datta was responsible for organizing the land revenue system. We already learned that Annaji Datta was one of the minister of the Ashtapradhan Mandal. So Annaji Datta was responsible for organizing the land revenue system. Officers were warned not to collect any extra revenue. So a fixed revenue system was there as to accordingly these farmers had to pay the revenue. Yes, nothing extra was to be collected from the farmers. So officers were warned not to collect any extra revenue. Whatever it was they were supposed to pay, that amount only they had to pay, nothing extra than that. Peasants were encouraged to bring uncultivated land under cultivation. If the crop was destroyed due to any natural calamity or enemy invasion, remissions were granted in land revenue and other taxes, and peasants were given bullocks and plows and good seed for sowing. So these peasants, yes, these farmers were encouraged to bring more land under cultivation and to bring uncultivated land also under cultivation. And if in any case there was a natural calamity, like say maybe floods or maybe droughts, so if crops were destroyed because of natural calamity or even because of enemy invasions, remissions, you can say the top sort of discount reduction was there in the grant and were granted in land revenue and other taxes. So they were not burdened with taxes which were in times of hardship, and peasants were provided with bullocks, plows, and good for sowing. So the officers were given instructions as to provide these bullocks, plows, and good seed for sowing to the peasants. Fine. Village economy. Yes, now village economy, in villages many occupations developed to supplement agriculture. Agriculture was the main occupation, correct, we know that. Apart from that, there were other occupations also which people were engaged in. Yes, like agriculture was there. There were some people who were engaged in animal husbandry. There are people engaged in who was a blacksmith, goldsmith, or maybe some other occupation. Artisans were also there. So all these occupations, they supplemented agriculture. Yes, so it artisans in the village produce goods and fulfill the needs of the local people. Yes, so whatever the goods were produced by the artisans, whether it be blacksmith, goldsmith, or even the potter. Yes, so all these goods could fulfill the needs of the local people. In this sense, a village was a self-sufficient unit. So while agricultural produce was also there, artisans were also there for production of different goods which were needed to fulfill for the requirements of the people. So all in together, in this sense, the village was a self-sufficient unit. They did not have to, they were self-contented in whatever they had. A definite share of the farm produce was given to the artisans by the farmers. This share is called baluta. Yes, so the farmers used to produce whatever they used to produce. A bit of that share, definite share means a fixed amount of share was given to the artisans, these artisans who produce goods and fulfill the needs of the local people by the farmers. A definite share of whatever crops they had cultivated, that was given to these artisans, and this share which the artisans received was called as baluta. Yes, so the artisans, there is that bala balutedar. Yes, so there were these bara balutedars who had different occupations, like the blacksmith, then you have the washerman, the goldsmith, then you have the priest in the temple, and many other. There are altogether bala balutedars who were given a share of the agricultural produce by the farmers. Yes, so that is how the village economy was there, how the village was self sufficient. In that sense, people were very much satisfied with whatever they had, whatever they could give. So that is what, in that during the time after Shivaji Maharaj took the reins of Swaraj in his hands, he tried to expand Swaraj and also to see to it that the development of the people is also there. So that is a very important point in the rule of, you can say, when Shivaji Maharaj became the Chhatrapati. So we will stop over here. We'll be continuing the remaining part of this lesson in our second part. Yes, so till then, Sai Ram children, stay safe. Have a good day.